I'm joined today by Brittney from Unleash the Archers on the Bloodstock podcast. Brittney, the last time we spoke was on the Abyss album cycle, and it felt like that was a huge moment for the band in terms of capturing people's imaginations globally, more people than ever before. Was that the case on that album cycle? And did you feel that build over the course of those couple of years, even with COVID in the middle of it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was it was it was interesting and it was new because we had the album ready to go when COVID hit, and Napalm was like, "Okay, let's push this." And we were like, "Oh, okay." And so we pushed it, and originally it was supposed to come out in like May, and then it was June, and I was like, then July, and then they were like, "Okay, no, this is not ending. We should push the album until next year." And then that's when I was like, no, I think we should release it. I think we should do this because personally, I was looking for music at the time. I was
Absolutely.
just could not wait for bands to release new albums because we were all trapped in our bloody homes with nothing else to do. So I was like, no, let's do this. We might be one of the only ones that release, and it could be really good. And it wasn't that what it could have been because we couldn't go out and tour right away, and you
Yeah.
get a lot of sales from, physical sales from being in front of people. But yeah, just basically digitally and like our presence out there and on the internet and the world, it was great because there was nothing else going on. So it worked out really well. And then we started Twitch streaming, which was like the best time ever. And we were able to really stay in front of everyone and keep the hype train going, And so it
Puns
was
intended.
exactly, yes. So it was a really great time, and despite the pandemic totally destroying our touring plans over and over and over again, um, we were connecting with people in a whole new way, and it was interesting, and it was a really fun release at the end of the day. So yeah, we were really, I think that we made the right choice in deciding to put the album out during the pandemic. And then when we finally did get to tour the record, it was incredible because we played most of Abyss on the shows, and like everyone knew every word to every song that we played because they had had so much time with the record. And normally, what it is you release the album and then you hit the road and tour, and sometimes you even hit the road before the album is out, like as it's releasing. So this, because we didn't tour until over a year after the record came out, it people had had time to hang out with it, and so it was really interesting just to see, um, to get to finally play these new songs, and they weren't really new for anyone, so it was interesting.
And being a band that technologically switched on, I'll say, like it's not the average band. Like you learn to adapt in COVID and you embrace technology. Is that part of the things that have led us to Phantoma and this new, very electronically focused record?
hmm I
In
would
terms
say
in terms of narrative, not necessarily. I'm not expecting any sort of dubstep left hand turns.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe, I don't know. I like dubstep. I like the noises that they make, dinosaur sounds, whatever those are.
Absolutely.
Um,
Unleash the Archers finally putting a donk on it. Amazing.
yeah. Um, but yeah, yes, absolutely. It was, the pandemic was still going, and it was early 21, and we were pushing the tour again because we were trying to go out that spring, and then I was like, nope, not happening. Push it to the fall. And I was like, oh God damn it! So we're not going anywhere. So let's write this record. Let's write the next record. And absolutely. So where we were at, just like mentally and physically, with the whole world locked in their homes, sharing moments via social media and the internet constantly, it was a complete reflection of the story of Phantoma, where humankind has destroyed the planet and we all live in biomes and AI does everything. Um, it was just kind of like, what's going on right now in the world? Like how broken everything is, and then like turning it up to 11. So that was kind of where the whole backstory of Phantoma came from. But the album itself, Phantoma herself as a character and that story had been kind of floating around in my head for a little while. And um, a lot of it was, just inspired by like my love of science fiction movies for the
Yeah.
most part, and the portrayal of androids and AI and robot kind across the ages in science fiction. And it was kind of like, why don't I give it a try and see
Yeah.
see what I can see what I can do with it. Yeah.
And this is it. Like, it feels like while Philip K. Dick feels like it's been omnipresent for most of our lives, and the
Hmm.
Terminator, etc., etc., we are currently at a time where those concepts are at our doorstep. Are you scared of AI, Brittany, or are you embracing of it? Because I was in a conversation with someone, and I'm naturally a glass half full person, and I'm kind of looking at AI from this totally hedonistic, euphoric kind of view. And
Yeah.
then my friend, who is cut from a very different cloth, started putting other concepts to me that genuinely chilled my bones. So, where do you sit with AI? Are you embracing? Are you scared of? A bit of both?
Yeah, I think a bit of both is probably, the right term. I mean, if anything, I'm like sort of unconcerned because I just feel like humankind tends to figure these kind of things out. Um,
You've got more faith than I have.
right. Well, that's what we are. We're ruthless when it comes to survival, right? That's why we're
Yeah,
here. And so I feel like when we need to get shit done, it's going to get done. So this whole thing is going to be a struggle, and it's going to be hard, and it's going to suck, and there's going to be major changes. But then I think we're going to figure it out. So um, it was really funny because I was watching this program about this, like the CEO of some AI company or whatever, talking about yes, there will be, job displacement at first. And it's just kind of like talking about it like, oh, it's inevitable. 100,000 people are going to lose their jobs. I'm so sorry, but it's inevitable. And he's right. It sucks because that is what's going to happen. But it's going to happen in like in all sectors just due to progress, not because of AI. It's because of where humanity is going. And like a lot of like in the coal industry, people are losing their jobs, mines are getting shut down, lives are being destroyed because we have to move to clean energy. Otherwise, we're not, the planet isn't even going to be here to live on. So
yeah,
it doesn't matter what job you're working when we're all, you know, not able to breathe, and half of the population has died because, you know what I mean? Like, um, so I am the kind of person that says, yeah, we're going to suffer right now, but I'm hoping that it's because we're gonna be like Star Trek one day.
yeah,
That's me.
yeah, absolutely.
That's where I'm at. Is that um, I have a day job, and that day job is the days are numbered, and I know that, and I'm constantly, kind of
Mm,
reminding my coworkers about it. Don't we can't be like boomers. We're not going to be working the same job for 40 years. That's just not
yeah,
going to happen. That's
yeah,
life as we know it. So don't plan to retire off of this. Like, don't think that I'm not going to be doing this for 40 years and then have a nice little nest egg to sit on. It's just not the way it is for us. It's not our generation, unfortunately.
mm,
I'm thinking probably 5 years, maybe 10 if we're lucky. Probably five though. And then I'm gonna have to figure something else out, or take the leap and do music full time. Oh, scary. Um, but um, but that's I you know I've just like I know that to be the truth. I've
mm,
faced that truth already, and I've told myself and said, but I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna, when it comes that time where we get canned because we're not necessary anymore. I'm not a dummy. I'll figure something out. I'll find something. I'll get a different job. And that's kind of the way that it's been with our whole generation. Actually, is that it's like someone that has worked at a one place for longer than like 3 to 5 years is an anomaly in
mm.
our generation. So that's just kind of like who we are as people as well. So
You're
um,
terrifying everyone here. I'm with
Sorry.
you. I know. No, I'm completely with you. Like it's a realist's view,
Mhm.
like of where we're at, and
Yeah.
like I guess from a writing perspective as well, you can fill me in. But like it feels like we are looking at technology from a human standpoint. Is
Hmm.
Phantoma still a very human story and a very human record in its narrative, despite
Absolutely.
being a record about AI?
Yes, it absolutely is because the thing is that Phantoma is this AI, living in a computer. She runs a warehouse that houses everything a human could ever need. And so she is, the switch that flips whenever someone says, I need toothpaste or whatever, she gets it to the biome. And so she sees humankind and has this side of them that is very constructed. So in the story, humans live in these biomes and they live like on social media just like we do now, but it's even more so. It's maximum because you don't leave the biome, you don't see people, you don't travel to Europe or go to these places. You see it on the metaverse. And so everyone is constantly putting out the best of themselves onto the metaverse. Look how
Absolutely.
great look how great my life is. This is the lavish luxury that I live in, etc. Blah blah blah. And it's maximized to the point where because AI does everything, humanity literally only creates. Um, and I'm not saying that this is the future, but this is like what I'm seeing. And
Yeah.
so they
As a
perform.
creative, it's natural to write about your
Yeah,
concerns as well, right?
right. But that's the thing is that the AI leaves room for this to be the only thing that humans do. We perform plays for another. We write music, we have parties, we eat amazing, we cook each other amazing food. We do, all the fun stuff is now all that we do all day long because we don't have to work. We destroy the planet as well, but it's kind of that side of things. So then this is what Phantoma sees, and this is what she models her own humanity after is this perfection. And so when she gets out there in the world and meets humans in real life and realizes that they're selfish and vapid and they don't care about the planet that they've destroyed, they don't care about the robots that do their bidding, they don't care about the fact that they're gaining sentience all around them, and they're just ignoring it. And when she comes to them and says, I found this other group of androids, AI, that are very angry and they're coming for you. You should prepare. They just laugh at her. And this is the moment that we see portrayed in our Green and Glass video. They laugh at her and they say, "Get out, you're just a bloody robot. Get out of here." And then that kind of turns things around where she's like, "Oh, so this is what humanity is. Okay, I can do that." And then comes back with Ghosts in the Mist and Seeking Vengeance and says, if we want a world where we're going to live together, I'm sorry, but you got to go and you got to go, and I'm going to be the one to do it. So it's it's about the perception of humanity and then the translation of humanity and then like the truth of humanity all through the eyes of um, an AI that gains sentience. Yeah.
What I liked about your story, and particularly where we're at in humanity, is does that does it feel like a day? God, this is a big conversation for an afternoon, but um, does it feel like we're at a point in time where humanity might be judged on that scale?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think we're there yet, but I don't know.
Yeah.
What does the future hold? I feel like it's up to us. Again, it's in our hands. What what
Mm.
is what is done with this? Where it goes, how we treat it, what the future of AI for not just daily life, but in the larger scope of all things,
Mm.
what does the future hold? I have no idea. And I think that, um, do I think that Skynet's gonna show up and take us all out? No. But do I think that there could possibly be a day where we kind of pay our dues for abusing things. Yep, probably.
There. And can I ask, we opened up by talking about your being a fan of sci-fi. And can I ask, were there particularly movies, film influences? Were there particular things that informed Phantoma? And can you let us in on some of those things?
Sure. Um, yeah, I mean, it's kind of like just a wash of all the science fiction that I've ever loved my whole life. But if I had to pick things out, for sure it would be like the Alien franchise. So android kind as it's portrayed throughout Alien, Aliens, Prometheus. I think that David was such an awesome character
Mm,
in both of the films, and I loved his apathy. And I also read the Tokyo Ghost comics a long time ago, and so that was kind of like the world, the way that the world building that was done there. I thought that was really cool and definitely influenced, um, the life in the biomes and that kind of thing. Blade Runner 2049, of course, and the original for sure. Um, and like, yeah, Star Wars, C-3PO, R2-D2. Um, what else?
that's it's a
Star
big
Trek.
melting point.
Yeah,
It's a
Star Trek.
bit.
I love Data
I
in
like
Star
that you're
Trek.
someone who likes Star Trek and Star Wars.
Oh
You're a
yeah.
rare breed, Brittany. These tribes are usually at war.
That's a choice. I'm telling you, man. You can have both. It's like when everyone was always like Marvel or DC. It's like both. I want both.
Absolutely. I like
You
Batman
don't
and Spider-Man. You
you
can't
don't
stop me.
exactly. You don't have to choose. They're all amazing. Don't do that to yourself. You know what I mean? It's like people that are like, I only listen to black metal. Why? There's so much great other metal out there. You are doing yourself a disservice by being this black metal elitist. But I get it because black metal is pretty rad. But you know what I mean? Like it's just in
I
general,
do.
just
I
yeah,
do.
yeah.
So, can I ask, what is the most unexpected influence that made its way into your storytelling? Is there something you drew from that is from left of center? Your face suggests so.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't think that there's really anything. It's all very, very on board. It was like I had a little bit of Tron in there. Um, oh, Disney. I mean, Disney movies. There, that could be a little interesting. But just the epicness of Disney. Like we were listening to I Can Go the Distance from Hercules, like a ton while we were writing this album. And also Hunchback of Notre Dame. The like some of the epic songs from that and just that hero's journey that they always tell, that typical story that Disney tells. And you know how, especially in some of the older films, there's like some major darkness happening there, but it's like children's movies and they're uplifting in general and sort of more a happier place. Absolutely, yeah, Disney for sure came into play on this record.
I like the fact that, like, if I was talking to Watain and they said Disney, I'd be like, "You what?" But with power metal having the stylings of bombast and being unafraid to blow things to gargantuan emotional levels and with melody, it doesn't
Yeah.
feel like that much of a leap.
Oh, good. Okay, I'm glad. Yeah. Yeah. I just
So
is a big one for us for sure. In the studio when we were living in the Airbnb together and everything, we just constantly had Disney movies on, and yeah, it was great.
incredible. So, of course, you're playing Bloodstock to celebrate the release of Phantoma. How have festivals been for you in recent years? Because it feels like your name is not necessarily one that is synonymous. Like everyone knows your name when it's on a lineup, but I feel the quality of your music like that plays into a festival where you are generally playing to the uninitiated. How have festivals been in recent years for you guys?
Well, sorry, excuse me. We actually haven't played that many because we got booked for Rockfest Barcelona back in like 2018, and that was our first European festival, and we were in the tent off to the side and everything, and it was great though. We had a really great time, and so we were like, okay, yeah, no, let's do this. And then we booked a ton of festivals for 2020. Like we had 17 festivals, I think was what it was, and then we all know how that worked out. So, and then no one rescheduled for 2021 because just it wasn't still wasn't happening,
Still
except
wasn't
for
stable, yeah.
yeah, except for Belgium, who had like something stupid, like a 95% vaccination rate. So they were like, okay, we're gonna have our festival. We're gonna do Alcatraz. And so we had been rebooked for that because despite the uh, horrors of the pandemic still raging, all of the festivals that we had booked in 2020 like rebooked us for 2021, and they were like, if this goes ahead, we're just moving the entire lineup forward. And we were like, okay, yes, let's do that. And then of all those, the only one that went forward was Alcatraz. So we played that one, had a really great time. It was a lot of fun, and a lot of protocols and stuff that you had to go through, special wristbands and tests and all that sort of stuff. But it was totally worth it.
Radiation
And
suit.
then, yeah, exactly. No, we were all like head to toe, you know, third act from ET, but and then we took time off to have a baby and to have an album, and so we haven't been able to get back into it until this summer. So this is going to be like our first summer of playing festivals, and we're extremely excited about it because we've been waiting for it for 4 years now. And I mean, we're not playing that many because, we have a kid and it makes it a little bit more difficult. But we're hoping that it becomes a regular thing because this is a way to play to people that have never heard your music and probably weren't going to check you out in the first
Yeah.
place. So yeah, we're excited about that. I think it's going to be a great way to get to know new fans and show people what we can do and just kind of get up there and have a good time.
It's very cool that you are this far into your career and you've still got these like big checkpoints to tick off. Like the thought of Unleash the Archers being in their first like proper summer festival run just seems bananas to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it is kind of bananas. And it's also why we have like a major, you know, conflict of, I can't think of the word right now, but like who we are inside right now, because we just feel like that tiny band from Canada still. Like, and probably always will be that way. And and then our label has to remind us, like, no, no, you've got 250,000 listeners on Spotify. Like that's not tiny. And so we're just kind of like, okay, whatever
Has
you say.
has motherhood changed your outlook as a creative?
For
Have you
sure.
have
Yeah.
you have you noticed like changes like in these recent years?
Yeah, yes, I would say so. I have a bit of faith in humanity restored, I think, because I see the potential of the future, really, is what it comes down to. I see that we, children force us to be better and to look inwards and see all the things that we wish we had done right, and try and get them done right. So I'm kind of like, um, yes, I want to continue making music and do this still at the same time. And I hope that, maybe one day she'll be able to do that as well. And um, it just kind of, it's like, yeah, the pandemic left a bit of a darkness in me because the world just turned to absolute garbage there. And,
Mm,
for a long time, I was just kind of like, we don't deserve to be here. Like we deserve to be
yeah.
wiped out by a plague. And having a kid was like, okay, maybe not. I think that humanity does matter and that human lives matter and that we have to try and we have to stop being so destructive.
Mm.
And we need to, it's like, okay, let's not make the world of Phantoma come to pass. Let's do what we can to have a planet for our children to live on. And
Now, you may notice that is something of an abrupt ending because Brittney's internet cut out. I'm not even kidding. So if you go to Bloodstock this year, make sure you buy an Unleash the Archers t-shirt or something so that they can keep the lights on over there in Canada. That's the bad news. The good news is that Brittney has agreed to join us again answering your questions all at some point before this year's Bloodstock Festival, of course, which is taking place on August 8th to the 11th at Catton Park. You can get your tickets right now at bloodstock.uk.com. And don't forget, check out the Bloodstock Facebook and Instagram, where you will get the opportunity to ask your questions to Phil Campbell of Motorhead on next week's show. The People versus Phil Campbell, coming to the Bloodstock podcast next week. Make sure you're subscribed, and we'll see you next week.